Hi, beloveds. Oh, don't need these on. Hi, beloveds. So, I just had a little insight and I just thought I might share it with you. In the last week, I have had a younger friend that I've been guiding who managed to come down and see me. So, managed to stay for a week with me because I felt to really do the work I needed to be around so that I could tune into the energy and we could see what was coming up in day-to-day real life. I think this is incredibly valuable. We do all the groups and the meditations and they're fantastic gifts and everything. But eventually, if we can get caught in our day-to-day patterns and just catch it in the moment and put a mirror to it or show something, and the person can take a little bit of time just to not have a sort of knee-jerk reaction to sort of wanting you to stop because you're showing something. And I don't care whether it's right or not right. That's not my business. What I'm doing is I'm allowing to come through me what needs to come through me. So it's a very interesting thing. I don't really know how I work, but I seem to do work and it seems to support people. So I'm always surprised how that works. So just for me, what was a little insight that came from me this morning, every time I do any sort of guiding or teaching or sharing, I find I will get a lesson to see if I am actually practicing what I'm putting out. So it was really interesting because my friend left yesterday after a week of being here. And so I'm sitting in the garden. I decide I'm going to knit a hat for a beanie for my sister. So she asked me if I would do one. So I'm doing one for her. And it was really interesting. I eventually am back to my first row. And I had to start it 3 times. And the lesson that I was giving my young friend, or one of the lessons that came up, was that he wasn't listening. That I would have, and then he was questioning. I would give him an answer, and he wouldn't take the answer. He wouldn't respect that that's my answer, and he kept pushing things at me. He thought for my best interest. But actually it just showed that he didn't believe what I was saying. Like when I said yes, I really meant yes. And if I said no, I really meant no. And I didn't need to be pushed one way or the other. Like, could he trust me? And I saw how little we trust that people are communicating in a clear way. And when they say yes, they really mean yes. And when they say no, they say they don't know. And maybe they say, I don't know at the moment or whatever. But it was one of the lessons that was coming up, and it came up in several different ways during this 7 days. So here I am outside in the back garden sitting in the sun. I decide I'm going to start knitting this beanie for my sister. And so I've arranged the colours, I've decided what I want to do, so I'm starting. And as I say, I kept watching, and I was realising that suddenly I'd get to a point, I was on my 3rd row, and I would go very clearly, okay, that's enough now, put this down and go and do, because that's how I work. I just move when I feel I need to move. It's just, and I suddenly realized, no, I'm really enjoying this. I want to knit another row. So I knit another row and I make a mistake. And then I can't quite work out where the mistakes happen. So I end up having to take it all undone and start all over again. But what I suddenly realized, here is the same teaching that I was giving in a more obvious way to this young friend. But actually, I wasn't listening to myself. I knew that I needed to stop knitting the row before, but I was going, oh no, I'm having so much fun, I want to just do another row. But I wasn't listening to myself. And then I got in trouble. And then I suddenly realized, I've just got my own lesson on this. Am I listening? Am I really listening to myself? Am I listening to the communication that's coming from my inner self to do what I need to do? So it was very fascinating to see that. And I just thought I would share that with you, that whatever we share with somebody else and any guidance we give, we will always get lessons somehow to see if we're doing it on whatever level. So one has to be listening, either listening to another, so you're communicating in a clear way, and also be listening to yourself once you know how to trust that and really follow that, because I've seen it many times, especially with the knitting, which is so funny because it's such a simple thing in a way to knit. Well, simple, whatever. But it's amazing how if you make a mistake, you've lost a stitch or you haven't got the right number of stitches or you get confused somehow. And it's really interesting. It always happens to me when I'm just going, oh, I'll just do one more row. But I knew I needed to stop before and I'm not listening. So on a deeper level, we have to also really be listening to ourselves. And if we're listening, if we learn to listen to our inner voice, it will take us in the correct way and help us. So this is my insight for today. And I just thought I'd share that with you. And I didn't know I was going to do even this, but I came to check my Facebook page and suddenly I realized that I needed to put this in great insight out to you. So I send you lots of love, and that's my short one for today. I send you lots of love. Bye.